So thanks for getting up and being with us here this morning. I'm meteorologist Jaqui Jeras. I'm in for Maria LaRosa this morning.
And I'm Paul Goodlow. Welcome to Weekend Recharge. We have a lot going on today. We have water rescues from heavy flooding, storms losing winds gusting over 80 miles per hour, and also thunderstorms knocking out power right now to about 60,000 people. So let's take a look at what we know right now. Will do. Thanks, Dr. Bostel. Well, camping is a favorite activity for outdoor lovers everywhere, but severe weather can quickly leave you vulnerable and exposed.
So we've turned to the Boy Scouts of America for some camping safety advice. Jason Baldridge is the director of Safe Scouting and Support for the Atlanta area. Jason, thanks for joining us this morning. So it always worries me when we've got a severe weather threat out there and people are camping. You know, they unplug from their devices, they want to get away from everything. What are some of the first rules that people should keep in mind when planning their trip?
Sure. Well, our motto is be prepared. And so the best thing you can do for before you go for a trip is know before you go. So make sure you check out your weather forecast, know where the shelters are that you're going to be at, know how to evacuate if you have to, and if you know there's going to be inclement weather, probably best to reschedule your trip.
Well, let's talk about that because flash flooding can happen in a flash. It's very quick. In fact, back in 2010, there were 16 people killed at a scout campground in Arkansas. So again, how can people protect themselves from something like flash flooding in a campground situation?
Sure. So always avoid low areas and washout zones. Make sure you set your your campsite up on a high and sturdy area. We also tell our scouts, turn around, don't drown, right? Never try to cross running water. It only takes 6 inches of water to knock a person over, and 2 feet of water can wash away most vehicles.
What about lightning safety as well?
Sure. So our Cub Scouts would tell you when thunder roars, get indoors. Yes. So we try to get inside when you can. If shelter's not available, then get in your car. The wheels will ground out a lightning strike. If you are stuck outside, never take shelter underneath something tall like a tree. Always spread your group out, crouch down low to the ground, and wait out the storm.
Okay, we talked about flooding, we talked about lightning. What about tornadoes? Again, something you might not be able to see if you're in the woods and you're camping, you don't have a good view of the horizon.
Yeah, again, so our scouts would tell you, get in, get down, and cover up. So if you can get to the sturdiest shelter possible, then do that. Always leave your tent. Don't stay in a camp or anything. There's a terrible shelter. If there's not shelter available, get to the lowest point you can, lay flat on the ground, and use your hands to cover your head from any flying debris.
All right, some great advice. Good tips. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jason. We're still watching the threat for severe weather, including the threat for more flooding. In fact, remember that video from Ellicott City, Maryland from maybe almost 2 years ago? Impressive. Scary amounts of rain there. All right, this concern is to see scenes like that again because we have this flood watch is up here talking more than 34 million Americans waking up this morning under some type of flood alert with this. And problem with this is some of the rivers are already running high. We got in the orange there minor flood stage, even moderate flood stage here across areas of Missouri. And this is not where you want to be when we have perhaps maybe 4, 5, 8 more inches of rain in the forecast.
Right, and so we're concerned some of those purples are going to end up coming on there as rivers begin to rise. So Poplar Bluff, Missouri, this is the Black River that we're keeping an eye on. Notice earlier this week with the rainfall, we had some significant rises and a little bit of minor flooding, and now the forecast is to bring that into major flood, in fact getting very close to record at 21 feet.
So the forecast tomorrow, because of today's rain, it's going to bring it in that orange, so we're talking 16 to 19 feet. Now take a look at this graphic. It actually shows you what happens when you get the water that high. Talking 16 to 18 feet here. Portions of Highway 60 begin to flood. Farmland south of Poplar Bluff also starts to flood. So here we go. Again, we're going to start seeing things start getting more and more inundated with all these floodwaters.
Yeah, so water very powerful, and it doesn't take a whole lot to knock you off your feet. In fact, 6 inches, Paul. I mean, that's, you know, barely above your ankles, right? That's enough water, flowing water, to knock you down. So you don't want to walk through it. It's very dangerous.
You also drown in that shallow water as well. And then 2 feet of moving water can actually float and then move your car or truck away. We saw a video from Oklahoma earlier this week of a car flipping upside down, a woman trapped under the water because of flowing water.
Right, and the flowing water has a lot of power to it, so it can damage your home. Water flowing only 4 miles per hour. So the average human person walks like around 5 miles per hour, right? So imagine that. That's not very much.
Treadmill 4 miles per hour, that's good pace.
You're moving at a good pace?
Yeah.
Well, that's enough to cause damage or destroy even a home.
Yeah, that's just the power of that moving water. A lot of people underestimate that. And more rivers here, like the Merrimack River here in Pacific Missouri. Yeah, we're below flood stage now, but barely. With all the rain we're seeing last night and right now, we're going to quickly get in towards that major or moderate flood stage. And again, you get above, say, the 25 feet range, we start to see a lot more homes, even railroad tracks, and eventually And the forecast is get this high as well. Interstate 44 may be closed with floodwaters coming over that highway there because of the rising Merrimack.
Yeah, we talked to the National Weather Service out of St. Louis yesterday, and they mentioned that the Merrimack River are one of the big ones that they're really concerned about this weekend.
And even Little Wabash now, it's getting into that minor flood stage, so a big concern for people across the area. Well, coming up, the severe threat includes gusty winds.
Had almost a foot of snow. Denver International, not too bad, less than a half of an inch at this time, but some of the suburbs around Aurora, we're getting reports of 4 to 5 inches of snowfall. So we are talking about a winter storm. It's got a name too, Ursa, and we've got our strong area of low pressure here that's bringing in all the flooding problems out ahead of the system. But on the backside, we've got this cold air, and we've been talking about snowfall into Colorado, down across the Sangre de Cristos into parts of New Mexico. The snow is really heavy. It's really wet. Everything is leafed out with all those trees, and we are concerned about power outages because of the weight of the snow. But on top of that, this strong low is really producing some strong winds. Gusts right now in Garden City, 33 miles per hour, gusts at 28 miles per hour in Goodland. So we do expect these strong gusts that could even reach 40 miles per hour before the day is done. So we've got thousands of people without power today, and more will likely be losing their power as a result of some of the snow. Let's put this into motion for you and advance you through time today. I think the worst of the snow, especially into Colorado, is going to be through maybe the lunch hour or so today. It's going to start to taper off later on tonight, and by early tomorrow morning, it's going to be leaving the Rockies. It's still going to be affecting western parts of Kansas and into central parts of Nebraska. So heavy snow, we could see more than a foot in a few of these locations. Even western parts of Kansas, Paul, could be seeing 4 to 8 inches of snow. This is the end of April. It's not unheard of, but a little unusual, a little late in the season.
Yeah, but also a very powerful storm system we're tracking. In fact, we have